We made it. This is the spot. Yeah. So I'll have him throw B-roll in here of what it was when we were here last time, which is February last year. But just give everybody a quick summary overview. This is the Warren location. This was you having to leave your flagship location, which was big and mammoth, and this is not like down the street from it. There was going to be attrition. It was the closest but best concept we could find. Dedicated parking lots. Rate worked for the square footage you needed. Walk us through. Let's start from the beginning. So why did you have to leave your original location?
Yeah, we were coming up on the end of our 5-year lease. So at the end of 2024, going into 2025, they basically, the landlord, I was a partner of that business too, and they basically said, we would like you to leave come July. So in the next 6 months, we need you to be out of here. And for a variety of reasons, but ultimately we had 6 months to pack up our 11 trainers and our 908 members that we had at the time. And we had to try to find something. So you and I were talking about different strategies. Like, do we go small gyms and try to open up 3 or 4 small ones? Or do we try to find one big one to try to put everyone towards and just know we're going to lose a bunch of people either way, regardless of what we do? So we came across this place. It's a 15-minute drive or so. And the next 6 months, we had to try to make this work. It was not ready. So we had contractors come in here, and luckily they started working as soon as possible, and they got the place done as fast as possible. When we left the flagship location, this was not ready, so we opened up a tent. We had a 3,000 square foot wedding tent. We put down rubber flooring. We put free weights down in the tent and set up our benches. So we run more of that Halo model type of situation. And it worked out great. We actually added 100 members in the 3 months that we were in the tent. So I jumped back in the sales seat for a little while and, tried to convince people how cool the tent was. Hopefully enough people
in the middle of the summer.
Yeah. So we had 4 big ass fans that were in each corner.
Guys, you missed COVID, right? It's just like COVID again.
Yeah, exactly. The tent worked. Ultimately looking back, I think it turned out way better than I could have expected.
Yeah.
We were inside by mid-October, which I would have signed up for. And then once we opened up in here, things have been great. So there was a lot of turmoil from January to October of 2025. But now looking back, I don't think we would have changed anything about it.
So the turmoil that happened, let's talk about that. So we'll talk on let's talk on the original location side. So we're going to talk about construction delays and overruns and GC fuck ups and all that kind of stuff that happens on most of these sites. But you guys had something really unique. I remember one day you called me. It was right around St. Patrick's Day. It was around March-ish. And you were meeting with a lawyer because you were being sued due to and I remember looking at the legal docs, a non-compete, non-solicitation, kind of mile radius, duration of time kind of situation from your original one. Talk about that.
Yeah. So where it got very interesting is that because I was a partner of the business that I had Pratt inside of, there's a fiduciary responsibility to not compete with that business. So
even if your business was no longer within it.
Correct. So when we were moving out of that location, the chess move that I think was being made, and I would speculate, was that we could ask Pratt to leave, and he has 900 members, and then there's going to be a percentage of those members that are going to stay here, and then we're going to profit at a higher percentage from those members if it's not his business, and then we will have them as our customers instead of Pratt customers. And then it would be an even greater amount of members if he's not in the area and if he can't open up down the street.
Sure.
So I think that was kind of the move there on their part, which I think was smart. So we didn't abide by it. We opened up well within the geographical restriction. And, based on the conversations that I had with my lawyer, it was a far shot that we would lose if things went to distance. But we ended up coming to terms and agreeing on everything. And we were far enough away, and we're going to be far enough away for long enough time that they were okay with that. I gave up all my equity in that business. So, there were some benefits and some drawbacks. But given the circumstance, I think if you're to rewind 5 years, there was mistakes made on my end of decisions of who you get involved in business with and how much of a fine-tooth comb you search through these contracts on the front end. And that will come back and bite you sometimes.
But at the time, when you signed it and you signed this agreement where you have equity in the business that housed Pratt Personal Training, it was a very smart move at that time. We'd all sit here and analyze, like, yeah, this is a great idea. And I generally, because all people call, like, whether it's a trainer, they're like, should I sign this non-compete? Or, a client who's got there's raise restrictions, especially with the franchises. Like, there's a lot of landlords in these big centers that will not let you open up another location within X amount of miles. We have to negotiate that down. At the end of the day, it's kind of like a non-compete with a trainer if you had in here. If they were to, it's only as enforceable as you're willing to go to court over it. And there's a certain dollar amount that's like, well, going to court costs X. And if I win, I'm going to get this. Yeah. So it just doesn't make fucking sense. Did you guys settle? How did that work? Or was it just like give them back the equity and then you guys just march on and they just didn't pursue you any further?
Yeah, exactly. We signed a separate document and agreement and we said, I have no equity in this business anymore. And then I'm going to be 5 miles away, which is within the original agreement that we had. And we'll chalk it up as that, and then we're good to go. We're going to keep trying to do what we want to do from a scalability standpoint. You're going to have a bunch of Pratt members that we put our sweat equity into acquiring and selling, and they're likely going to be yours now for $0 of marketing expense. So we'll just chalk it up as even as we possibly can, and a few years from now, none of this will matter.
And now that the equity and that whole deal's done, now you no longer have a restriction. You could open up in Martinsville again and reclaim all your, lost children that have been over there.
Correct.
Yeah, they've been stranded. Okay. How many square feet do we have here at the Warren location?
This is 7,200.
All right, 7,200. When you were at your first location that we essentially downsized, you essentially had 9,000 square feet to work with, kind of like.
Yeah, it was a 9,000 square foot field house.
Yeah,
maybe a little bigger. The half that we had was 5,400 total square feet. So it was about 11K of a field house, and we had half the field house.
Okay, and we joked around when, and we've got the footage from that trip last year, but like when it was packed, it was still so big. I mean, you were talking, it's a huge field, it's huge ceilings. It seemed kind of empty, whereas now in here, the energy, I think, it perfectly matches the size. So walk everyone through what the model looks like in this square footage.
Yeah. So if you're familiar with the small group model, the classic 6-to-1 that a lot of fitness and gym owners are doing now, it's basically that just 5 times over. So we have 5 separate small group zones. We have 6 benches in a zone. We have a double-sided rack, and then we have machines that are shared for multiple zones, and then a shared cardio section that any of the members from any of the zones can go to. So it's we custom program, so we have basically a math equation on how much equipment that we could use per member per program to have enough equipment for everybody based on the average session. And we have the benches, which are going to be like a true halo model, like at your home base. You keep coming back to this, but you could potentially have some days of which you're doing an exercise or two in the rack, cables that are attached to the rack or the machine. So it's largely just a 6-to-1 custom training model, but it's multiplied 5 times over in one facility.
What are the pieces you choose to be within a zone or within someone's program? Because, I mean, you have very select, like you purposely pick select pieces of equipment. What are those? Yeah,
so we have a double-sided rack here, and that double-sided rack, it's a rep rack, and it has 4 cables on each post. We have 6 row benches adjustable. And then we have machines that are shared with the zone next to you, and potentially 2.5 zones, I should say. But it's a Atlantis leg press hack squat combo, Atlantis lat pull down seated row combo. We have 3 of those on each half of the gym, so 6 total. 2 quad extension, 2 hamstring curl, and then 2 shoulder presses, all from hammer. And then we program those at a ratio that we know we will not have a backup at those pieces of equipment.
And then you've got, on a cardio equipment piece, you've got some standard ergs, treads. What is the cardio allotment?
Yeah, we have 5 skill mills from Techno Gym. We have 4 bikes, the assault bikes, and then we have 3 skiers, and then we have 4 rowers.
Okay. Now, we were just in here. What's 100% capacity during a session?
That's 30 members.
30 members. How many coaches on the floor?
5.
5. Okay. So out of all the square footage, how much is training floor? It's most of it.
Yeah. Of the 7,200 square feet, when you carve out the bathrooms, the lobby area, and this, we're looking at probably 6,000-ish, maybe a little bit less.
So, yeah. So, I mean, just some basic math here on when we're talking, OpCap. If we have, sellable or trainable square footage, 6,000 divided by 30 members, plus there's how many coaches on the floor?
5.
Plus 5. So let's go 35. It's about 170 square feet per person. I'm thinking about this with other models. Like, Industrious, which is like an improved version of like the CrossFit. They do their halos at 169 square feet per person.
Yeah.
And when you're talking like everyone having their own equipment and being like a nice, and you have a similar, kind of how Metabolic does it, kind of Fight Gone Bad does it. Like it's station based. Stations are static. People are dynamic, moving throughout them. And it lays out really well. And I'm hammering on this because I know a ton of people are going to ask about this, but when you were creating the program, and you think about it in terms of like you always talk about these zones. Do you prefer, because now we have the Hillsborough location, which is a smaller, it's a one zone model, one zone, and then we have in here
5 zones.
5 zones. Yep. Which one do you like better? Like from an purely operational business perspective?
Yeah, the one zone definitely superior. I would say we could probably get away with even less square footage than what we have in Hillsborough. We have 2,000 and we just have a bathroom. We could probably cut down the lobby area, which is by no means big, but we have a couch and 2 single seats. We don't even need that. Yeah. So I would say that if we were to try to save as much square footage as possible, we could probably run our single zone model in 1,600
square feet. Yeah. And the fuck is it? The Mel Gibson movie, The Patriot, Aim Small, Miss Small. Like the beauty of that is like taking down these small square footage where you over, it's like, oh, it's $4,000 a month, whatever, right? Like bad sales month doesn't fucking matter.
Yeah.
On this site here, this was, I mean, it was a former, at one point it was a gym, it had fitness equipment in there. There was a dance studio room in there. I remember we came in here and all the floating walls are up. Walk me through from the time we got the lease signed to the construction period, permitting, and the mismanagement and stuff that happened there that forced you to have to be outside in July running outside classes with all the founding members and all that.
Yeah. I think the biggest hiccup we had was with our general contractor. It seemed like everything was solidified, and it was a friend of ours. So maybe there was a perception on our end of that.
A member or like friend? Okay.
It was a member that was originally a friend of one of the staff members. So we probably falsely felt connected to what we were going to be doing, and we thought maybe the agreement and all that stuff was solidified. And then it seemed like when we got to the goal line, it's like, hey, if you're not gonna, this whole place ended up costing $800,000, and it was kind of like if you can't basically guarantee all this money on the front end, then we're not moving forward. So we had to go back and talk to banks and get lines of credit and grants and whatever we had to do to justifiably have the money on the front end. So that caused a little bit of a hiccup. Once that was ironed out, they came in here and did a fantastic job. They did it in a timely manner and all that good stuff. But yeah, I think once they got in here, probably we were outside of the tent for a few weeks. So they probably got this whole project done after demo in 2.5 months.
Yeah. I mean, that's about like, it's $105 a square foot in construction costs. Yeah. And the funny, like, anytime we're quoting vanilla box, so if we go into a space and it just needs to be, it's generally $90 is my average, is what I'd estimate. So you probably would have came in, do you remember what it was originally, like the original quote, and what you thought it was going to cost? Or was it always going to be $8?
No, I think everything before the original quote was just speculation.
Sure.
So I think the original conversations we were having was like, $500,000, 600, maybe 7. And then when it was all said and done, it was, and I want to say the exact was over 8. I think it was 850 or so. So it definitely was more expensive than we thought. We were in a situation, and I don't know if this factored into it, and I would venture towards the answer being no, but ultimately they knew we were in a pretty desperate position, and we had a big business to try to save, and a lot was riding on this place being ready. So if a general contractor decided to charge me more than what was reasonable, I would have said yes anyway.
Yeah. What kind of checks and balances? Because like you said, a lot of people do this, like I'll have someone looking at a site, like, hey, I'm going to have my fiance's dad come. He's a GC, a plumber, whatever. Great. I'm like, and it can be friends breed familiarity breeds trust. But on stuff like this too, it's not always it's like the GC who's also, but you've got materials, which are not like whether they're available or not, or the cost of those go up or down, subs. And now you're managing fucking like 7 slack asses that are just not showing up on time, borrowing materials from one job for another. Permit consulting. What would you do differently to manage that for anyone's like listening to this who knows the GC, they're a friend, family, whatever, but now they're like, well, I still want to make sure that they're not going to fuck this up.
Yeah, it's a great question, because I would say in the second facility that we opened, we probably brought somebody on because we knew Mike and trusted them. And I would say that was a mistake in regards to timing and making sure that all the T's were crossed and I's were dotted in regards to the town and the permits and all that stuff. Nothing ended up coming back to bite us in the ass, but in hindsight, it probably should have. For this location, we ended up hiring a big company. And yes, there was a relationship, but we felt comfortable in saying that this company is successful to a degree. So, it might be more expensive, but I think it's our best bet to guarantee that we are inside in the time that we need to be. I don't have a great answer for what I would do differently next time in terms of like auditing the GCs, because I simply don't know enough to determine that. But I would want to talk to more people that know more about this before I make my next decision.
So I see the problem all the time in which we're working with the client and we look at a site and we like it and we're trying to understand our total project cost, which means construction. A GC can come in and give like a ROM, a rough order of magnitude, and he's eyeballing it and kind of, maybe they know what you want. You tell them I want a wall here, whatever. And they're coming up with it, and it's a very loosey-goosey kind of pricing. It's just their best guess. The only way to have that guess dialed into the cent, and even then there's going to be variability, is going to be a set of architectural drawings, CDs, construction drawings. But getting an architect is 20 grand.
Yeah.
Right? Now you can get a less expensive version, have someone do what we call like a preliminary test fit, or maybe they come to location one, they see, okay, this is the idea. You sit down with them and they sketch out just a 2D kind of idea. This is the test fit. Now the GC's got a much better idea. Does the building have architectural drawings from the previous tenants? We see exactly from mechanical, electrical, plumbing here. This is all like, I'm waiting for someone with AI and everything to get some good fucking software where we can start estimating construction costs before having to go to the architect, before having to get a GC. Because even just getting a GC to come on the fucking site, like if they're a friend, it's probably an easier pull. But I've got clients that are open in markets, they don't know anybody, and they're having to call 7 GCs, 2 call them back, 1 shows.
Yeah.
So it's like it's a feature, not a bug, of this entire commercial real estate construction process. Did you guys get hit or hammered with any permit issues, conditional variances, anything like that?
No. For this location, we were very fortunate.
Yeah.
We knew some people with the town that were very helpful.
Okay.
So members and former members that are involved in the town, they helped us push the process along as fast as possible. So the day, it was a Friday where we had a lot of the town coming in, and we're like, we need to open on Monday. Like, it is non-negotiable. Mm-hmm. And that day we had 8 people in here giving us all the permits, making sure everything's all ready to go. And then we were able to open up a few days later.
So big location. What is the rent here?
It's a little over 10.
Yep.
All in, it's 15 or so.
Okay. And this location, obviously we were bringing a ton of members over. We had some churn. How much churn?
35%.
35%. Okay. Gain some members while, doing your thing out in the parking lot in July and pre-sale and people come by and these other shops. What is this facility, when it's at like sophistication, it's cruising, what will this make per month?
Yeah. If you take our annual payments and average them out across the year, we should do $250,000 a month.
Okay. So $250 a month, rents at about 15-ish. And then on this model, how many full-time employees do we have here?
11.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm always curious as talking about I have an idea who your core customer is. Who's that core employee here?
It's somebody who I guess at first needs to want to take this very seriously as a profession, and it's not a part-time training job. All of our staff work at least 36 hours, and majority of them are on the floor.
Yep.
So our big pitch in terms of like R&D it says you're not going to come in here and do sales. You're not going to have odd jobs. You're not going to do admin. You're going to train for 40 hours. And it's not going to be at the most convenient times. And there will be weekends, and there will be early mornings, and there will be nights. And the person that wants to coach so bad they're okay with that. And on the positive side, they get to make a lot more money than probably anybody else. Pretty much, I would probably say in the country, of just a startup personal training job, 40 hours. It's that person that says, I want to personal train. I want to make good money. I take it seriously, and I don't give a shit about being at work at 4:45 in the morning. I don't care about staying till 8:30 at night, and I will work Saturdays and or Sundays.
What is that person making? If they come in and start?
At least, they're starting at 80.
80?
Yeah. Okay. So we have if we have some trainers who put in more hours, they want to work an extra shift or so, they can make 6 figures pretty quickly.
Okay. On that front, are you maxed out on employees? Do you need more here?
We could take out more, and I say this with the recent scenario that we have of a pretty solid intern class.
Okay.
If we wanted to, we could, make an exception to the scalable model and open up a couple extra weekend times or do some midday times.
Okay.
So it wouldn't be impossible to see us hiring 2 more people. And then if we hire another person to either take one of our programmers off the floor a little bit more to program, or take somebody and have them be an assistant manager, or help out with sales and marketing if they want to, or just have them work one of those midday times and open up a 1 zone or 2 zone session time here in Warren.
Yeah.
To maybe thin out that AM time frame, because we are pretty much as close to 100% capacity in the mornings.
I mean, as we were pulling up, I was looking at all these little shops over there, and I was like, man, a couple of those are probably about 1,700, 2,200 square feet. I mean, fuck, call in and be like, hey, if anyone's there when you need to grow, just pop in a quick little one right there.
Yeah.
Membership at its highest at the first location. Where's the peak of membership there?
Yeah, we hit just over 900. We're at 908.
Okay, 908. And then where are we at now here?
We're at 860.
Okay, so we're closing in.
Yeah.
We're closing in. Let's talk expansion. So you and me before we were talking Ann Mullum and Solid Core and how impressive opening 100 locations in 10 years is. And again, she had the VC money to do so, because you open these corporately owned stores, and there is a huge difference. When I go to a landlord, he might say, this individual owns X amount and they're all corporately owned, and this one's going to be corporately owned. They love that. That's what they want. They're not as big of a fan when it's a franchise. Now, they love the franchise, proof of concept, especially if it's a sexy brand, all that. But that franchisee, if it's their first location, they are essentially a startup. Even though the brand that's behind them has maybe 50, 100 units, they still look at that operator as a startup. So when they see corporately owned stores, landlords are much more, they like that 10 times more, especially if it's a sophisticated landlord that's been dealing with, like Solid Core. One of the reasons I think they were able to expand is the guarantee was for the company was on for that guarantee, right? And they were able to say, like, okay, it is the same operator essentially at all of these running. It's not a franchisee who's just running the playbook. You're still going corporately owned, but growing, you've been able to self-fund LOCs, lines of credit through banks, things like that. How do you think about growing now? Because currently, after this, we're going to go look at another location. What are your thoughts in terms of growing and funding that growth? While not, shooting yourself in the foot or robbing Peter to pay Paul.
Yeah. I think right now we're probably a bit strategy deficient of, how do we quickly find a new place? How do we open up as fast as possible? And then once we get good at that, I think, it's going to be a financial issue. And then something that we did here that I liked, at least to bring in some money on the front end and have it be, customer backed financing, is that we did run our pre-sale, and we did a pretty solid annual play once we opened up. So we brought in $800,000 in a month when we first opened up here. And we had never done anything like that before. We'd always been recurring revenue, 100%, no packages, no discounts for the long-term play. So I have mixed feelings about that. But I think if in the next location, if we have a very stable recurring revenue, but we can also bring in some cash on the front end that maybe could help with the funding for the next location, maybe that's the path to start. But it seems to me like we're going to have to re-strategize quite a few times to be as big as, some of the big time players in the industry.
Walk everyone through that. So walk them through that play, because everyone just, the headline there is, we brought in $800,000 in a month. So walk everyone through the kind of the pre-sale strategy that you utilized here.
Yeah, so we had a lot of our existing members here from Martinsville training in the tent. We said when we're going inside, we're going to have founders rates for when we go in, and we're going to have a 30% discount if you pay for the whole year up front. So to our advantage, we were dealing with people who were already bought.
Yeah, they're already there.
Yeah,
yep.
This wasn't
They've
cold
been paying
traffic.
you for years anyway.
Yeah. So, and we were promoting it externally. We were trying to get new people in. We were, having the same presentation to them. But largely, this was a lot of members that have been with us for years, and they said, "I have no problem paying for the whole year. I'm not going anywhere." So we had 200 and I want to say it was 200-ish members that ended up opting for that at an average of like 4K a month or 4K for the year, something like that.
With the 30, that's with after the discount.
Yeah. And a lot of them, I would say a lot of them ended up being the 2-day per week option, so a little bit cheaper, a little bit more digestible. But basically we sold it as a package, and I forget who I've heard run this play before, but it was very similar to that of, you have the recurring membership, you have X amount of sessions. For most people on a monthly basis, we have it on a weekly basis. So we just said, you're buying 104 sessions. You're on recurring because you are going to be billed again 52 weeks from now. And it will be this price point plus whatever we decide to increase the rates, which is going to happen next year at whatever date. And that 104 sessions, if you don't use them all, they're going to roll over into the next year. If you do use them all, we're going to renew you early. So it was helpful that in running that play, we were able to downsell everybody into choosing the option that they felt comfortable that they would fulfill, as opposed to trying to upsell them to 3 or unlimited, which we probably did more of in the past when everything was recurring.
Sure.
But I think that probably helped us, secure more memberships at a very solid rate for them and make them feel secure about not underutilizing it and regretting it.
Yeah, so it's, for everyone listening, it's like instead of selling, you're paying for a year in full, essentially it's a punch card with 104 sessions on it. You're buying that thing up, you got a year to use it, and when you run out of it, boom, now we kick you back into recurring.
Yep.
So you had all those founding members, and then pretty much all the new fish that came in here, all the new members that had not heard of you, they're from Warren, they weren't at the original location. That's what started building up your EFT draft in the pre-sale in the months after opening.
Yeah.
How was that? Because obviously it's misleading, right? Like your number one thing is get as many of the current paying members to come, but at the same time, we know there's gonna be churn and attrition because this isn't down the street from the first location. We need to market and get it out there. What did that look like for you on the pre-sale marketing side?
Yeah, we maxed out whatever our agency told us to spend.
Yeah.
I said, give me the top dollar, and we're going to spend as much as we possibly can. We're new to the area, so that was helpful. We were able to get a lot of Facebook traffic, and then we run referral internal plays nonstop. So we're always asking for referrals. We're always trying to make it advantageous for both the current customer and the person they bring in. So they get free time in the 10, and then if they sign up for the year, they get the same discount. Just any sort of opportunity that we could take to get the current customer to say, I want to bring more people in. It's advantageous for them to come try it. It's risk-free-ish. And if they come in, they try it, and they like it, then they have an opportunity to lock in and sign up for a long duration for a discounted price.
Was new client acquisition from the immediate Warren submarket here, was it what you expected and what you hoped for? Has the reception been warm?
Yeah. It's been. I probably thought it would have been harder than what it was, but we seemingly had a decent reputation in this area, and we had about, like, when you ran the report for us, about 35% of our members are actually closer to this location than the other. And that was incredibly helpful in terms of word of mouth locally. And then we were able to branch off into, like, the Northeast from here is a great area.
Yeah.
So we were getting people from towns that we were never able to pull from in Martinsville. So, we had a lot of our members that stuck with us, 2/3 of them, but now we're attracting people that were a little bit outside of our scope before, which had some benefit.
Yeah. With the expansion plan, so we're gonna look at a location that we're in lease levels now with out in White House, New Jersey. When you call me back and you're like, okay, it's time let's start talking about the next location, and we're talking kind of, okay, what's our strategy on where we're looking to go? Obviously, we would love to find something right there, Bridgewater, Martinsville, because it's right by the original one, and we still have 33% of our members still back there on that island that we could get. But I remember asking you, like, outside of that, and you're like, I'm kind of open. Like, this will work anywhere that we have an affluency and there's the right demographic and the right customer segmentation. I remember talking, like, Alchemy 365 was one of my favorite brands because they did what I call just like a leech model. Wherever core power yoga was, they wanted to open up within spitting distance because they were the yin to the yang.
Yeah.
And it worked out beautifully for them. Just kind of like, if I was a CrossFit back in the day, I wanted to open up near the YMCA, right? Back in 2008, 9, 10. When you said it, we were talking about, like, okay, where's Sam and Alpha Fit? Where, because they've been in Jersey, they've established really good, we have ideas there. There are other brands. Talk to me about that, because you were very agnostic as far as, like, I've got some thoughts, but honestly, I'm really open. I mean, we were kind of looking a little bit all over the place.
Yeah. I think our our demographic is largely underserved, and it's not attractive for the average fitness business owner to deal with the population that we deal with, which is the insecure, nervous to be in the gym, intimidated, 40 to 70-year-old, have some pain and injuries. They're not a great fit for a lot of those models. So if I were to, use that term of like the leech model, there's no place that I'm overly intimidated to go to.
Yeah.
Because I don't think that we're going to go in there and take a bunch of clients from them. But I think maybe people that were attracted to that model, that saw it wasn't a good fit for them, they will venture towards us. Yeah. And that would be a good jumpstart for us.
Yeah. And the leech model doesn't always have to be another competitive, entity. It could be an anthropology. It could be like another brand that you're like, my clients fuck with that brand, and they are there, they wear it, buy it, service it, eat there, whatever it is. And looking at White House, and they're like, where are we thinking are we going to continue ripping these one zone models, maybe two zones? That's kind of the goal going forward.
Yeah. And I think you're like our original conversation, it sounded like both you and I were a little hesitant on Hillsborough. So we're like, highly populated, maybe not, like maybe
it was a brand new development, like just brand new development, residential going in through there. It was at first, but it's proven to be it was a great move.
Yeah, so it turned out fantastic. But like we were looking at 4 sites before that, and I think both of us would have said these 4 would have been better first fits for open up this micro gym. But with it working so well in Hillsborough, I guess maybe to a fault, my confidence is high that it could work in most places. So the goal is to find the best area that we can in terms of population and affluence, and then if we open it and it works well, then we just keep trying to do that over and over.
I wanted to talk to you about, you said something early in the podcast of small group training. You're kind of explaining it to everyone, just kind of bringing everyone up to speed, and what a lot of people are going to these days. Tim Lyons hits me up, a colleague. He's like, he's big in the small training thing. He goes, it's like, I hear everybody like two brain business. A lot of the CrossFit Mind Trust, Brain Trust, like everyone's talking about semi-private training, and it's not new. It's been around for a long time. A lot of guys have been doing it. Why do you think the interest? Because it's 100% true. Like I see a huge pull in that direction. Mark Fisher's group, obviously, that's primarily their thing. Why do you think that's continued to get popular?
Yeah, I think I guess my theory would be that there's been so much competition over a specific demographic for so long, and I think you could probably chalk it up to the CrossFit demographic. You go to Lifetime, you see the CrossFit type person that's there taking their alpha class and their GTX. You see them in the CrossFits. You see them at Orange Theories, and I feel like that is all the same type of person and avatar. The small group training for the personal training trainer, and the person that really likes the custom programming and maybe being able to serve people that are outside of that gung-ho hardcore type of population, I think that's what we find attractive.
Yeah.
It's that we could get a 67-year-old in here, and of our 30 members, there's guaranteed at least 5 of them out there per hour that when they first came in, they said, I doubt this is going to work. I don't feel good about this. I've tried a bunch of other things. I'd like personal training, but it's too expensive. So what do you have to offer? And then if you can make them feel safe and make them feel like they're getting an effective workout via custom exercise selection and whatever the protocol is, and make them feel taken care of with good customer service and competent people that are serving them, then it seems to be a win.
The biggest thing I was sitting here, I was looking at is like, it looked like a giant 30-person collective of like, some younger, like I saw myself at, 20 years old, 22 years old as a trainer, taking care of like a bunch of people's moms, dads, and grandparents. Yeah. It was like Pratt Personal Training. This is where you send your family members that are undertrained, overfed, and well-funded, right? Like, like you can afford high-quality training coming in here. It was just like, I was watching, it's like all these young trainers, these studs just stewarding fucking 30 people's moms, aunts, grandmas, moms, dads, and just making it, which is great too, because like, they go home and then they have a conversation with their son who maybe went to Lifetime and he's ripping fucking Pectex and whatever the fuck it is. But his dad maybe was doing some cable work on the thing. There's a point there to relate. Whereas in the group fitness thing, you're right. It's like that was for the higher training age performance driven. This is going to be my post college, post high school sport or thing that I pursue. And then a la like High Rocks. As you sit back here, because this, I'm assuming your membership demographic is not enamored with High Rocks as everybody else from age 25 to 35. You mentioned some of your coaches are in it. As you sit back and you see those things happen in the fitness industry, those waves don't come crashing into your business necessarily.
Yeah.
But like, do you observe, like, how are you as like an industry guy? Do you like look at that stuff and take notice and make observant? Like, how do you think of all that?
Yeah, I think there's always like an instant interest. Like we have a couple trainers that do it that are very interested in it. So they run a Sunday 12:30 group.
Nice.
And then some of the members can come in. And like you said, we have of our 860, 20 of them come.
Yeah.
And I think it gives the optics of like, hey, we have this like High Rocks thing that's going well. Like, guys, we have 20 people out of 800 showing up. Let's just, let's pump the brakes. So, let's understand who our avatar really is. So it doesn't interest me in altering our model, but I think every time something like this does happen, the thought of, if we ran a paid class on Saturdays and Sundays, we could bring in an extra $2K a week or so.
Yeah.
But it's not worth the distraction.
No.
It's not our population, it's not our people. And I think most importantly for me is like, if our marketing message, if we start promoting that, it shows that we're not what we really are.
Yeah.
And I think that's the most important piece for what we do. It's like we are definitively for these people who we received the biggest dopamine hit of somebody coming in saying, I'm not consistent. I would need to exercise. I never have. I am overweight. I've always been overweight. I have knee pain. I have back pain. I have shoulder pain. I've seen what else goes on in the industry. I've tried all these other things and it either made my pain worse or I just hated it and I wasn't consistent. How are you going to be the solution for me? And showing that demographic that we could solve that issue, I think is what I take the most personal pride in. I think that's kind of webbed out to the staff. The person that says like, this has completely changed my life, and not because I lost 40 pounds, but because I lost 3, but now I'm active 2 to 3 days a week. Like that person is who we're chasing and who we feel the best about helping.
It's one thing like, if you had a group fitness, I don't care, it's a MAD, an Orange Theory, a CrossFit, and 40% of your membership in the past few years has done a High Rocks. That's a different scenario, and now your people are already choosing there. I feel like in models like this, anytime I hear somebody in a small like they want to put an event up here, a thing that's popular and trendy or whatever, it's got the Athletech headlines, and they're like, yeah, but now are you trying to get them into the thing? Because you think, like, again, like if they want it, like it'll be a duh decision. Like if they all were showing up, like I wanted it'd be a duh decision. But if you've got to like, I don't bring it to them. They'll bring it to you. If there was something here that 70% of your members wanted to participate in, a fight or whatever the fuck it was, anything, you would, 100%. That's a no-brainer. We'll put together a thing for that. But if you've got to like have the conversation, like, I think this would work. It's just like, why present it? Let them, anything they're fucking interested in, extracurricular. And that's also the other thing too, is like, when you get into this demographic, there really isn't that extracurricular thing. Right? It's like maybe some pickleball on the weekends or golf or like family time or whatever. That younger demographic, but thousands of extracurriculars and social and High Rocks is now the fitness social status that the CrossFit Open was and all that back in the day.
Yep. I
don't know how much you've been paying attention to the High Rocks stuff. It's wild now because then you get people getting confused. Like, I'm opening up a High Rocks show. I'm like, High Rocks is an event. It'd be like opening up a marathon gym. Like, it's not a methodology. It's just it's just a event.
Yep.
There's gonna be 6 more that like Adidas just announced theirs, Red Bull announced theirs, CrossFit just announced Xenon or whatever that is, which is their like High Rocks. It's a decathlon of fitness kind of competitor.
Yep.
Like that area is just.
And there's a Lifetime Games apparently. Some
absolutely.
Like strength injections, some barbell exercises. So it's cool to watch. It's not gonna. I can't see the day that plays a role in my business.
Yeah.
I think the whole competitive thing of fitness thing is like, if I was 10 years younger, I'd be all into it.
Yeah.
We have a bunch of people who are in terms of staff, but I'm like, these people don't come to the gym to be competitive.
Yeah.
Like 95% of our members. And we, when we were in the old location, we had a large group class that we ran at Test, and our members had access to that for free. And I remember when we were first moving, it's so funny thinking of the optics. When we were moving, like, well, we have to do some sort of cardio interval type thing like we had previously. And then we looked at the numbers. We had 10% of our members. Dan, this is 100% free for 100% of our members, and 1 in 10 even attended once a week. Like, it's not a needle mover for us. It's not our population. We had one specific moment where there was a member here who said, I don't understand how you guys plan on keeping your members if you're not going to have burn. as one of your class options, what we called it. And I was like, you just look out on the floor right now. There's 29 other people here. Name me one person out here that goes to those classes. And there was 0.
Yeah.
So I'm like, just in terms of the percentages of people that actually found that to be a productive piece of their fitness regimen for the people that come here, it just doesn't exist.
There's a phrase like people vote with their dollars. And I feel like in a younger demographic, as far as the fitness industry, people vote with their dollars, but I think it's more, and they also the time, because it's a social aspect. I feel like this demographic, they vote with the dollars, but that's not a hard vote for them. It's the time is the bigger thing. And everybody, as you get older, just realize where the currency really lies and like is in the time, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So these guys voting with their time, or will they show up to that class? It's not that they couldn't afford it, even if it wasn't free. It's just like, no, I already worked out 3 days this week.
Yeah.
I'm completely satisfied. I got the small group training. You belong to the, so these mastermind groups. You talk to a lot of people. I'm sure you get hit up all the time from other individuals wanting to kind of get where Pratt's at. What do you see are the common missteps in growing a semi-private model into something that is, people hear that number, we glossed over, and I remember I think I probably clipped it or used as the headline on the last podcast, but like doing $250K a month is like, you never dreamed that when young James got his first fucking personal trainer certification or CSCS, whatever, like you never dreamed of that number. Most people can't conceive that. I'll be honest, there's a lot of that ones I see that they're still having a hard time, cresting 50 a month. What do you see as the common in this particular model?
Yeah. The thing that I kind of hedge my bet on is professional customer service that is relatively authentic. I think a lot of gyms are missing that. But most importantly, I think if there's a number that is a differentiator, it's the leads we generate on a monthly basis. There isn't a month that we generate fewer than 160 leads. And I think if there's something that matters the most, it's probably that. It's really tough to get a gym to 7 figures a year if you're not bringing in a lot of leads. And, we have a very concentrated sales effort. Like everyone gets called right away.
Yeah.
Everyone gets called for 7 days. Everyone gets 7 days of text automation. Everyone gets put into the pipeline and they're going to be getting reached out to. T's crossed and I's dotted from the sales and marketing process, I think is huge. We've definitely gotten the reputation that because we custom program at a high volume and we hire full time and we pay a lot, that our product is at the forefront. And I think a lot of that is true. But if there's like a number, if you were to scan our sheets, like what number really stands out here outside of revenue, it's leads generated. And this month alone, we're at 135 right now. And we're running a free May play, so we're internally getting a ton of referrals. We've had 63 referrals so far this month. We've signed up 53 people so far this month. And I think if there's something that is probably hard for the average business owner to wrap their head around, it's how much volume and how much effort we put towards those other things that isn't custom program. It's asking for referrals nonstop. It's paying a lot of money for Facebook leads. And then it's, doing some external plays and internal plays and trying to create as many leads as we possibly can.
With the lead, so what is your monthly ad spend? So an ad spend plus marketing for a retainer.
Yeah, we spend somewhere between 100 and 150 a day, depending on if we have something a little more special going on, which our plan is like three months every year. We go pretty hard on a free month and promote that heavily and simultaneously do it internally. Right now is that time because May is free. So we go very heavy on that. And then I know a lot of people squirm when they hear free. But
yeah, I don't know why.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, and to your point before, I have a lot of gym owners come in here and I watch them get uncomfortable when we start talking about that. But I'm like, you have to understand, even if they opt in, they have to have a phone call with us. By the end of that phone call, they'll probably know if they want to do this or not. And if they are a tire kicker, they're giving up right there. I can almost guarantee, because we're going to arm wrestle you to the point that you qualify yourself with the questions we ask and the conversation that we have. After that, you're going to come in for a one-on-one assessment. Are you going to show up for that? If you do, you're probably more qualified. You're going to go through that. You're going to see we're competent. We're going to have a conversation about your next program that you're going to start off here with. We're going to talk about the schedule. You're going to have a free trial. We're going to Netflix close you, so you are going to put your card on file. You're going to pay late cancel and no-show fees if you don't show up. And your membership starts on this day. If you don't want to ever pay anything, you have to cancel your membership. You have to send us the email saying I want to cancel my membership. But as of today, you're an active member. Regardless of whether it's a 2-week free trial, if you signed up for free May on May 1st, it's like June 1st, you're getting billed. And if you don't want to get billed, you'll tell us, and we will, like, you're the one who has to act to cancel. And if this person was a tire kicker, they just don't get to that point.
Sure.
So it's kind of like, I think, I was talking to Mark Fisher recently, and I think he put it the best in saying that it's free with friction.
It's free with friction, and it's also, I just look at it as it's built into the CAC, to the client acquisition cost. Essentially, like, I've had gyms like, I don't want to run a free thing. I'm like, that's okay. But let's say it's whatever that value you'd be giving away free, we're going to probably spend it on more ads then.
Yeah.
Right? So it's just like, I just look at it as it's part of the marketing cost. Yep. That's all it is.
100%.
It, like, because it's free, like, it was, well, if it's free, it has zero value. No, that's not true. If the thing has value perceived and it's free, you go to it. I think a lot of people think that, like, they ran up a free promo with their gym and it didn't maybe age shit. It's like, I would say I don't think there's just not perceived value there necessarily. Yeah. Like, if you said, like, hey, I'm taking 5 hours of calls with semi-private gym owners for free a month, you'd have people fucking showing up for that, because the value, the thing that they're getting has perception, just because it doesn't have a price tag on it necessarily.
Yeah.
A couple things you had mentioned there. Okay, so with the leads, 160-ish is what the minimum you guys are looking for. What does that look like for you guys from lead to prospect, meaning they actually walk in the door?
Yeah, we have, from the leads that we generate, the amount of starting point sessions that we do, assessments that we have, is 18% greater than on average 65. So I guess we call it 80 or so.
Okay, so 80% of the leads get on site. That's wild.
I'm sorry. No, the
20%.
40%.
40%.
So I'm sorry. 160 to 80 would be 50%.
Okay.
So 50% of the leads on site.
Okay. Fine.
And then once they are on site, we close, like, they become a paid member over 80% of the time.
Okay. And that's kind of how I tell them, like, we're doing cold traffic, right? Whatever you have top of the funnel leads, if you can get 30% to 50% of those to convert in and actually walk in, it's the first sale has to be made, is having them drive their happy ass down here, right? Boom. Because you guys aren't doing e-com. You're not selling. Are you guys closing over the phone? Are you closing in person?
We are in Hillsborough, but not here.
Okay.
Here we close in person.
Why the difference in the two?
So because we hit capacity in Hillsborough, we decided to
got it. Okay. Previously, but before hitting capacity, were you closing in person?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Having a wait list, yep. Close on the phone is no.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. So 30, 50% lead the prospect. And then once they're in the door, that's, at that point, again, the friction should make it that if they're here, yes, 80% is definitely getting closed. The ones that don't close, is it just not good product customer fit? Is it cost? Is it slipped through the cracks? Probably could have gotten pre-qualified out.
Yeah. We ask enough questions for me to never allow our cancellations to give a non-experiential reason.
Okay.
So when our manager has a cancel call with a member that cancels, we pretty much just don't accept those, and like we go about it very kindly. But
so they're like, I got busy.
Yeah, it's like tell me about your experience. Like, give me the 1 through 10. What was your experience really like? And no matter the answer, oh, you said 10, great. What would have made it a 12? Like there's a net difference of saying that the way we approach that call is what they're saying is that, or it's not that it's too expensive, it's that it's not worth the money we charge. And there's something that we did or something about the experience that could have made it better. And whether it's reasonable or not is irrelevant. I just want to know what the net difference is of that customer and what we charge and what their experience was and why it's not worth it.
Sure.
So sometimes we fuck up and that phone call ends with us saying, like, we fucked up. Your next 2 weeks are on the house.
Yeah.
Like, you come in, we're going to fix this. Like, you had an issue with 2 exercises on your program and that was the reason. We're fixing it.
Sure.
Like, that's getting fixed right now. And by the way, if this ever happens again, like, you tell us right away, we fix that shit. Like, that's what the trainers are here for.
Exit interviews, or whether it's an exit, a lot of gyms will just shoot out like an exit form, whatever it may be. The goal is not to get, like, if you're like, yeah, on the cancellations, everyone said they loved it. I'm like, that data does nothing for us. Like, it does absolutely nothing. We need I want no news is not good news. Right? Like, oh no, it was great, it was whatever. Like, no, I need to know the rub. Because even if, like, I loved it, but I'm moving to Seattle, I still want to know the fucking rub.
Yeah.
There's always a rub. There's no client experience, Ritz-Carlton, fucking, Michelin star restaurant or Pratt Training that doesn't have some client experience rub at some point. And, the friction's light and you don't really notice, you don't pay attention. And then I don't care. Everything from a soft touch to a gouge, I want to be aware of.
Yeah.
And it's this soft friction consistently, I think, that slowly wears down. Like, there's a gym I go to in Charlotte that I love, but the water fountain is so fucking dirty every goddamn time. And I, like, forever, I would clean it. And it's like the gym owner DNA me. It just like pissed me off. I grab it, wipe it down. And then I just started getting fucking angry. I converted to like a customer. I just started getting fucking annoyed. And now that triggered, like, how long has those fucking cobwebs on the rig been there? Right? Like, and then like it cycles through. And yeah, it's just interesting. Everyone, like, when you get good reviews on the way out the door, great. Go hunting for the fucking criticism.
Yep.
Because it's always there. There's no perfect client experience. It does not exist. In that same vein, you mentioned on the sales, you guys have this very, pre-qualified with friction, that kind of free with friction. How do you go about your trainers training that? Because I got to imagine there's probably friction there with a trainer coming in. Because like you said, you're not going to be selling, you're not going to be whatever, you're going to be coming in and learning. But at some point, they've got to learn the art of sales, or is that specifically for a different kind of person, different role?
Yeah, great question. Because our thought process with our training staff is you have no idea who's paying and who isn't. So we do have white sheets for our new members. So we do know that their program based on the white sheet is new, but they don't know how long it's been since they started their trial.
Sure.
They have no idea if the member's paying or not. The only thing that they will know is that if the member cancels, then we shoot a message to the team saying, this is the person, they were on a trial, they canceled before their membership started, and these were the reasons why. And that's it. But we don't actually want our trainers thinking that they need to alter their behavior based on somebody being on trial or not. And we want them to treat them just like a normal member. But we intentionally make as small of a deal as possible from free to paid member. And like, we don't have this big party. We don't call them, say, congratulations, you're now a member. Now you grab your t-shirt. It's like, you're a member the day you came in, and we're not going to throw a party when you turn into a paid member.
Just like we're not going to talk shit the day you cancel.
Exactly. So we ask our trainers' behavior to not be altered at all. And part of hiring the right people, I think, for the training job is that they are genuinely interested in the member and the customized program, and they see the exercises and they see the narrative on the top of the sheet, and they have talking points of like, oh, you came in because your husband and you have a right knee issue. How did it feel on squats? And that gives them directionally appropriate for where they want to take the conversation to show the customer service that we want to each time.
Yeah.
But it's not triggered by, hey, this person's on a trial. Make sure you try hard today.
And so then on the sales side, do those guys, they never transition? So you're managing, so the managers, the roles within Pratt Personal Training, the org chart, that are doing the selling, that are doing the arm wrestling and all that stuff, pre-qualifying, that's a completely different role than the trainer.
Correct.
How many of those roles are at this location?
One.
Okay.
Yeah. We have one, and then we have one trainer that puts in 10 hours of part-time work as an assistant.
So when you think of that, so 160 leads a month, and anyone who's ever done really good CRMing, right? They lead nurture well in the CRM, right? You could be having 32 conversations at any given time, and you're like messaging with someone and they stop responding, and then you go on to your next task, and then that fucking lead message and comes, like, it's a whack-a-mole game. Talk to me about, because I bet you everybody listening believes that, like, I can hire trainers, train trainers. That's not my problem. My problem is hiring good salespeople that can do that. What is it you look for in someone to do that role? And like, what is the conversation you're having with them at the interview stage? And how do you develop somebody in that? Because again, unless you've had in-person direct sales experience, it could be a tough skill set to develop.
Yeah. So I was fortunate to have somebody who I hired as a trainer 8 years ago, who was great at every role that we ever put him in. He moved into the sales role, and basically I did all the sales leading up to then. So I just kind of showed him what I did. We have a sales playbook to operate from, and then we have all of our scripts that he has to follow when he makes his phone calls. After that, it's just output. Yeah. And he's dealing with warm leads. So it's like a huge advantage of doing sales here, and probably in any gym, is like, you're not cold calling people and saying, hey, are you fat by any chance?
Yeah.
But you call people that are opting in through Facebook, and you call referrals. Yeah. And that's pretty much it. And then when someone says go fuck yourself, it's like, oh yeah, that's part of the game. Mm-hmm. And it happens 5% of the time. And I think there's probably some thick skin that I'm seeing that a lot of gym owners or salespeople don't have that, they get shit on a few times and they want to quit.
Yeah.
But I'm like, dude, I need you to get cursed off at least once a day because you need to make 100 calls. Yep. And if there's not one person that's cursing you off, not because you're a bad person, because you're 100% not, also a big piece of it. You're heavily bought into what we do. You're a great person. Think about how many lives that we've changed with our product. Every call you make, you're trying to change that person's life. And because of that, 1 in every 100, they're going to tell you to fuck off and stop calling them. And that is okay. We're totally fine with that.
Yeah. My daughter she brings me these drawings all the time. She said, what do you think of this one? And I was like, it's not one of your best. I'm like, yeah, I have a folder of 100 of these things. And anyway, and like I did it. And then in the moment I was like catching myself and I was like, no, that's good. That's probably going to help her later on in life. She's got to learn that, like, yeah, you could absolutely offer somebody something and they just like, nope, I don't like it. Yep. What do you like in my dress? Not my favorite, right? Like being able to handle honesty is hard, especially, in that sales role in the fitness industry. She's like, well, I just wanted to help them. They filled out my form. Like, and it's also like timing, 86,400 seconds a day. Yes, they filled out that form at 2 p.m. on a Tuesday. It was a priority at that exact moment. Maybe like, they were on Facebook and it was one of the memories. Like, this was you 15 years ago and they fucking look great. And then your ad hit and then whatever. But then life happened, right? Like, and it's that constant follow up. How do you ever coach anybody in that role? It seems like this individual did not need it, but like to get them out of mindset, like you're not bothering them by following up 7 days in a row, calling 7 days in a row. Like when someone goes, well, I feel like I'm harassing them. How do you handle that?
Yeah, I mean, good. Yeah. That's what we're going to call them as much as we can because we're under the impression that that they're reaching out to us because this could change their life. Yeah, and I mean. The vision that we have is that this is somebody who hasn't been exercising, or maybe they have in the past and they've had only bad experiences, and we have enough proof of concept to say that we're probably the best bet for this person. So you're only wronging the person if you decide not to call them. And it is 100% a constant battle. Yeah. So like there are the days, like recently, just because it's top of mind, a couple weeks ago, there was a Saturday and our sales guy had a starting point session late and then he left. The starting point session was finished at 1:30. Somebody opted in at 1:34. And I'm just like, hey, man, I'm like, you were in your car. The lead came in. I'm like, you probably didn't leave the facility yet. I'm like, I know you didn't have your notes in front of you. I know the pipeline wasn't sitting there. But like, the person came in. I'm like, at the very least, let's call this person. Yeah. And he's an 8-year vet. He's been doing sales now for 4 years. Like it's a constant battle. But if you're not willing to have those conversations, it's not going to be optimized. And it's like, again, I'm dealing with a person who his response was like, dude, you're 100% right. He's like, I'm like, I gotta get home. Like I told my wife I'd be home by 2:00. And then I was like running a little bit late. It's like, but fuck, call them while I'm in the car. Sure. And at least start the conversation. And it's imperfect note taking. And I don't have my schedule directly in front of me. But
you've been doing this long enough, you can do it in your sleep at this point. Yeah.
100%. So it's like managing the right people. Yeah. It's very easy for me to manage them because they're very receptive and we get along very well. It sounds like maybe that's another issue that maybe some gym owners deal with. It's like they have employees that they're kind of scared to manage, and then maybe the employees are a little bit more contentious than what is necessary. So having everybody buy in, I guess, is another big piece to it, regardless of role, but especially in sales. Sure. So
over at Hillsborough, who was the main salesperson over there?
Same guy.
Yep. Okay. Now, when we go ahead and open this additional location in White House, will we run that one guy overseeing the sales there? What is the operational bandwidth for that role?
I mean, once we get to the point, I think the sales assistant was a necessary add. So the sales assistant is now reaching out to the leads that are on the left side of the pipeline, we call it, which is like just opted in or responsive, but haven't had a conversation yet. So they're running through that left side of the pipeline every day, trying to set up that call, or even having a modified get to know you call to set up the starting point session. They're competent enough to do that. So with the resources we have, essentially, that's 50 dedicated hours of sales until we're generating 500 leads a month. I don't know if we're not able to do it. Yeah. And then as we get closer to that number, then we'll just kind of rearrange some resources to make sure that we can send out the necessary text messages and leverage automation. My guess is 6 months from now, AI is going to be able to flawlessly help out with all this. I'm sure it could right now. We're just not even aware of it. But in 6 months from now, like with the contributions of AI, I think this will be even easier. I agree.
This doesn't sound like a guy ready to go on like paternity leave, right? Talk to me about that. How do you manage the work balance?
I think ultimately, for me, I spend the majority of my morning working, and then if I'm working on high enough leverage things, then I don't have to work, 12 hours a day. So I think for the most part, the big stuff that I want to get done is done by noon.
Okay.
And then in regards to seasonality, like we're gonna have our second child, so I'm gonna try to be done even sooner.
Sure.
My guess is I could get everything done probably from 5 a.m. to 9 a.m. and then like help out with the kid and then be responsive to the staff when they need to and get all that stuff done. So I think it's just managing, like understanding that there is going to be seasons in which I'm not going to be able to put in as much time, but there are things that, like right now, currently, I'm pressing very hard to get a project done. And then once that's done, then I think, and I want to, like, in regards to opening up the next facility, like you as a resource is huge for us because a lot of these first steps that we would have to take and the extensiveness of this project would be much harder if you guys were not involved. And then on the backside of it, knowing that we have the resources here that we could probably quickly fill that from a staffing standpoint is also makes us more manageable probably than it seeming like a daunting project. But every once in a while, there's a couple things that I'll just, I'll enjoy working on it. So I'll just nonstop work. And then I'd imagine for the majority of the month of May, I'm going to take off a couple days, but I'll still be having conversations. I was like John Franklin. It's funny. This always reminds me of this, but like probably 3 hours before my son was born, I was shooting him a text message.
Okay.
Just like I'm like, what else am I going to do in this room? You're kind of hanging out. We're talking. I'm hanging out. Talking shop with this guy. Like, why not? So I don't know. It's an interesting blend of, like, I guess what I would now consider work and life. It's not like I'm on the training floor all the time. I'm not taking sales calls. I'm not doing any of that stuff. That's like, dedicated time that has to be fully focused. So I could drift in and out of work throughout the day quite a bit. And like my fiance she's great about that. She completely understands. She's like, do your work thing. That's but like I got the kid. Like you're good. What are we both gonna do the same?
Sure, yeah.
What are we
Seems
both watching?
Yeah.
So like, and I do leverage the system stall process quite a bit at home. It's like only one person can cook dinner. Only one person can take the kid for a walk. Like if we want to both do these things, that's awesome. That's great. But in terms of allocating the resources appropriately in the house, we want to make sure that we're taking this into consideration. So,
okay, end of the day, how many of these do you want to have, and at what point do you ever go out of Jersey?
Yeah, I don't really know. The only way I've answered this question in the past is like I just want to do the next one.
Yep.
And then like I think our conversations led me in this direction. I can easily start thinking, how do I do 3-4 at a time?
Sure.
But I'm like I need to get better at doing one.
Yeah.
And then if I could get to the point that I could do one every few months comfortably, and we have to we have to find the site. We have to. We just had 3 other places that ended up failing, and it's a different reason every time. So like all those things can happen if we get good at finding the spot, opening up efficiently, having the necessary resources, personnel-wise, to open these things up, having the financing behind it. Like all these things are huge factors. So if we do get good at doing this, and we could hire 2 great trainers for every location, we could fill them up pretty quickly. It's cash flow positive pretty quick. Then I don't know.
So it's not like I want a aggregate amount of revenue generated in a year, or I want 50 locations, or I want to package them up and sell for this. Is it
correct?
Okay.
It's not even a thought process of mine. I guess right now it would sound super unbusiness savvy, but I could see myself being involved in this at 80 years old.
Yeah.
Right now it just doesn't. It's not like I want to get a $30 million valuation
Sure.
and then out. If someone offered me $30 million for my business right now, I'd probably say no.
Yeah.
Because I like what I'm doing.
Sure.
It's fun and I want to keep going. I want to see how far we could take it. It's kind of part of the gamification of business ownership,
Absolutely.
So I don't see a finish line right now.
No, and no reason to. Because I love reasons of coming back up to Jersey. So just keep opening these. Brother, I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.